And Christ's vision is just the ability to see Christ in our brothers. To see the good in those who come in front of us. That's really what it's talking about. So this is not some complicated thing. Again, can be very difficult sometimes. But so in my practice, and I'll share it again, as my practice is I used to. You probably have all been in a Baptist church or a Lutheran church or some kind of mainstream church where they have a picture on the wall of this fair-haired Jesus, blue-eyed, and sometimes he's standing in front of a door, but he's got the white robe on and stuff. And I used to, that used to be my practice, was when it said, see the face of Christ in your adversary. See the face of Christ in the person who you say you love, but you're mad at right now. I used to actually see that picture. If that works for you, go ahead. It didn't work for me that well for very long, right? So because, of course, then I saw this show, National Geographic show, that showed actually what Jesus would very likely have looked like. And he didn't look at all like that picture on the wall of the church. Just so you know, very dark skin, kind of curly, tight hair. I'm just saying, not the same picture, right? So, okay. But what is being revealed to me in my practice is that the face of Christ doesn't have any features that would make him, her look different from someone else. So the face of Christ is the face where what I see now is no features, but rather light coming to see. You see the figure of the person and to visualize the light just coming from them. And what is being recognized is that is the light of love. That is the light of God. That's the light of the Christ vision shining through the other person. But really then we realize that it's actually a reflection of what's going forth from us. And that does not mean that each one of us individually is the cause of the Christ light. It is only when we recognize that we are not individuals, that we are all together, that then this light passes between us. So this vision, this Christ vision, the lilies of forgiveness are rooted in the Christ vision, meaning that when I can see through the features of the person, when I can see through the actions of the person, when I can see through the attitudes, when I can see through their political affiliation, when I can see through to the Christ light, that is what makes the lily of forgiveness grow, which means, and the forgiveness is seeing that they never did anything in the first place that I should be upset about. That it never happened. In spirit, it never happened. It absolutely did happen in the world that we see. And that's so important to acknowledge and say, yes, in the world that we have created together, these bad things happened. But not really. Not really, not in spirit, because we were never separate. We were always one. We were always, and so each thing that occurs, this is the practice then, that each thing that occurs that triggers a fear thought in the mind, the Christ vision will provide a lily of forgiveness for that situation. So again, a piece of paper and a pencil may be helpful. Sit down and write. Sit down and write the biggest unresolved issue in your life. How many years have we been talking about that? What is the biggest unresolved issue in your life? Write it down. There is a lily of forgiveness for that issue. Whatever it is. And don't worry about it if it seems trivial even if you seem, whatever problems you have, it doesn't have to be, maybe, wait, you know what, I should have said this from the beginning. Maybe the biggest problem is too doggone big to deal with right now. It's not really, but if we think that it is, Take a smaller one. Take a smaller one. See what happens. Be open and receptive to the answers that come. Christ's vision is the holy ground for the lilies of forgiveness. This is their home. They can be brought back here to the world, but they can never grow in its undernourished and shallow soil. They need the light and warmth and kindly care of Christ's charity. They need the love with which he looks on them, and they become his messengers who give as they received. Anything taken from this storehouse, anything taken from this treasure house increases. Whereas we look at how much money we have in our pocket and we have maybe counted it once or twice, or maybe we're afraid to count it. And we know that as we give out from that money, that the money in our pocket becomes less. This is actually a lesson that the world tries to teach, that you've got only so much, and if you give it away, you'll have less. It's probably the most like present evidence that this is the way the world works. This is not how it works in spirit. Everything we give increases. Somebody once said to me, we just give a copy of it. We give a perfect copy of it. Not a bad facsimile, but a perfect copy. When we give that perfect copy, we get to retain the original, and then the other person also has the benefit. So, as far as what happens in the material world, if we think about it like this, that the money is just a symbol, or the gift that we give to someone. We may take some time and think about what someone needs, what they would like, and we go out and we buy it, or we make it, or we do something to make it happen, and we give that. Whatever it is that we give, if we think about it as just a symbol for this prosperity and this abundance, it's just a symbol of what is actually never ending. It's a symbol of what we can never run out of, which is the good, which is the light, which is the love of God. That's all that it is. It's a symbol for that. Or, which is how it's been set up in our mind, it could be a symbol of lack. It could be. We could say that money is actually a symbol of lack because we only have so much of it. But if we think about it as a symbol for the good that continues to flow through us, we get ourselves in a better state of mind. So, behold the store of miracles set out for you to give. So here's the cool thing. You thought you had a bunch of problems. When you came in here, you thought you had a bunch of problems. What you got is a store of miracles with which to apply to every one of those problems, and which will turn into a benefit for you and everyone else involved. Are you not worth the gift when God appointed it be given you? Judge not God's son. Judge not your brother. Judge not your sister, but follow in the way that he has established. Christ has dreamed the dream of a forgiven world. So this is the difference. World forgiven means that we've totally forgotten all the horrible things that we've done to each other. This is a world forgiven. The real world, the world that is held in the vision of the Christ, is a world in which none of the bad things ever happened. And not a thing in denial, but an actual miracle that occurred that went back into time and healed all past wounds. This is the vision of Christ. That time has absolutely no meaning whatsoever in the healing of all of this suffering. It is his gift whereby a sweet transition can be made from death to life, from hopelessness to hope. Let us an instant dream with him, because his dream awakens us to truth, and his vision gives a means for a return to our unlost and everlasting sanctity in God. That's enough.